Hi, how you doing? This is Jose David, marriage counselor. Today I'll be talking about the book Stop Divorce Dead in Its Tracks, Chapter 3, which is Attain a Better Mindset. One of the first things that you have to do in order to be able to regain any sense of yourself is to change the way you think about things. A lot of times the problem is not the problem itself, but how you think about the problem. And if you can change the way you think about a problem, you can change the way you feel. And when it comes to your marriage, you need to change the way you think about your marriage. You have some, preconceived ideas and things that you've thought about your marriage for a long time, but you're in this position right now, and a lot of things are not what you thought they were. And you got to understand that you're part of the problem. When there's a relationship and it's not working, it takes two, and you contribute to that, and you are probably your worst enemy right now, as hard as that is to say and think and accept. You might be in denial that you have not contributed to the problem, that you haven't done anything wrong. And if that's your mindset, it's going to be very hard for you to be able to regain your relationship to where you want it to be. It's very easy to blame people for conflict. It's very easy to put blame on your partner or spouse. But the real thing that's going to change is if you're able to take responsibility for some of those situations, and what has brought you to this point. It will go a long way. People are very forgiving. People will, if we humble ourselves to them, they are able to sometimes forgive a lot of things, just so we can move forward. But you have to change the way you behave. And the way you behave is hard to change, but you can do it. And you can change the way you think. And everything that you've done before has brought you to where you are now, so why would you want to continue doing what you're doing? So avoid conflict, and stop being negative. Try to, I know it's hard, but it's just another habit that you have to incorporate in your life. You gotta try to be positive. And I know the situation, is difficult, and it'd be hard for anybody to stay positive all the time, but you have to try to stay positive, because that's just going to benefit you, and it's going to benefit the way you think about the situation. Don't be needy. Don't. Part of the problem is that a lot of relationships are based on other people expecting to be happy because their partner makes them happy. They do things that make them happy. You're basing your happiness on somebody else, and that's never good. It creates codependency, and you start losing a sense of who you are, because you are giving that power to somebody else instead of focusing on yourself and how you can make yourself happy, and have your partner or spouse complement that in your life. They should be of support. They're your partner. They're your partner in life. They're not the person that is supposed to make you happy and that you depend on emotionally. And that's a mistake that sometimes a lot of people do. You start thinking that that's the only person you need in the world for love, approval, validation, reassurance, and that's not healthy, because you need to be that person for yourself, and obviously expect love from your partner, and then feedback, positive feedback and negative feedback, but knowing who you are is very important. And so maybe it's time for you to get to know who you really are, and to be that positive person for yourself. I'm going to share a little story of a couple of patients. It's probably a typical couple. They get married out of high school. One of them is a doctor. One of them is a physical therapist. They have children. They spend a lot of time together. They focus a lot a lot on family and raising their kids and work, and they don't really have anything outside of that. They don't have a lot, friends that they go out with, or activities that they do individually on their own as hobbies. And it gets to a point when their kids move out, they feel empty. They feel like something's missing, and conflicts arise, and they start not liking each other, and that's when they reached out for marriage counseling, and they realized that they were codependent on each other, and that they were they made their whole lives about each other, and they never looked outside of themselves to actually enrich their lives in other places. And so that's just an example of things that can happen. And one of the things that will make you change your mindset is if you stop engaging in conflict, which means you don't argue, you don't look for situations or nitpick at details of what happened in the relationship. That's not going to benefit you right now. And this has to be a commitment from yourself to yourself, that you're not going to put yourself in situations that are going to create conflict with your spouse or partner, because that's just going to make the situation worse for you and for them. And you gotta know that every time your spouse or partner attacks you or tells you something or wants to get their point across, try not to take it personal. Try to understand that that's the way they feel. Might be or might not be true, but for them it's true, and it doesn't have to be true to you, but you gotta listen to some of it, and you gotta try to agree with it. Try to take some of the positive in that, or negative that you could benefit from. And because if you're the kind of person that cannot take any type of feedback, then that's going to be a problem. That's probably why you're in this situation. And so you have to change the way you think. And if you start trying to understand your partner, trying to listen to them, trying to really listen to them, and try to empathize with them, and try to know that what they're feeling is real, and that to them it rings true, and you're trying to get that's going to change the way they perceive you. Because a lot of times they probably didn't feel validated. They didn't feel like you were really listening, that you were really taking them seriously. Because a lot of times throughout the years, people tend to take each other for granted, and you get into this loops of thinking that, that's the way things are, and you believe them, and you tell them to yourself over and over again, and that they're not always true. So try to not be taken by anger. Anger is a very negative emotion, so do not be negative. I know humans, usually think that they have to feel certain pain, or if you're feeling pain, it's something scary, and that it's something so bad, and just as part of the human experience. So don't be afraid of feeling pain, but also you can change the way you think and the way you feel about the painful situations that you're going through. Try not to feed into it, by sometimes feeding into your own sadness, and you're doing things that are going to make you more upset, or thinking about them too much, and trying not to distract yourself and do positive things. It's just contributing to the problem. So stop complaining, stop whining, stop driving yourself around in circles in your head, telling yourself, things that might not be true. Don't be your worst enemy. Be the person that you need to be for yourself, and then for your partner. They'll see that when you change, they're going to see that, and that's going to be something that's going to attract them back to you. Okay? Thank you.